Hello and welcome to the Satluj TV podcast. And today's guest, all being well, will be appearing on a regular basis on our series of podcasts. So our guest, Dr. Gurinder Singh Grewal MD, is not only a distinguished cardiology specialist in California with over 48 years of experience, but he's also a passionate advocate for Sikh and Khalistan causes. Having graduated from the Punjabi University of Patiala in 1975, Dr. Grewal has dedicated his career to both medicine and community activism. Affiliated with Tracy Hospital and St Joseph's Medical Centre in Stockton, Dr. Grewal is highly respected in the medical field for his expertise in cardiology and his compassionate approach to patient care. But his remarkable journey in cardiology is complemented by his deep commitment to the Sikh community and, of course, the Khalistan movement. He is the co-founder of SikhHeritageEducation.com that documents and archives material relevant to Sikh rights and history. And he was also the co-founder of World Sikh News. That was a hard copy newspaper that ran for 12 years before the digital revolution took over. And deeply impacted by the events of 1984, Dr. Grewal has since then been a powerful advocate, ensuring the world never forgets those terrible events. Dr. Grewal, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure. Now, Dr. Grewal, I want to start with actually a very simple question. You are an eminent cardiologist, as I've mentioned, but you have found yourself donating a large part of your life to the cause of Sikh rights. So what was it? What changed you from a simple cardiologist to such a dedicated Sikh activist?
I left India in 1975 January after I finished my medical school and internship. I was born in an educated family. I was very well aware of Sikh issues. And it was not that I did not understand things, but I chose just to stay with my professional life, and I was not involved with anything. I hardly ever went to any Indian function until 82. So in 1982, there was a 60-minute segment on CBS covering what was happening in Golden Temple, interview by Murli Sefer of Sant Jarnail Singh and some of his associates, and that woke me up that we had no clue what was happening. And just within a week or so, there was attack on Golden Temple. It was a massacre of innocent people, and it was just terrible. That's the saddest day of our life as a Sikh. And, we thought what happened. So my conclusion was very simple, that this is not an attack on one person, this is not an attack on a building, this is an attack on a Sikh nation. They attacked not only one area, they attacked many other gurdwaras. Punjab was occupied by military, tanks. Which country uses the tanks on civilians? So it was very clear that this attack is an attack on Sikh nation to subdue, teach them a lesson by Indira Gandhi, because during emergency, they were the only one demonstrating, fighting back when rest of the India was not able to do. So having perceived that, then it was hard to just sit back and not do anything. So we had several meetings, and we started a World Sikh News to disseminate. The people need to know what happened, and that we continued for 12 years until there was elections in Punjab. So we did everything we could to enlighten the rest of the world what was happening in Punjab, and especially in India, to the Sikhs, which was very bad. So if you can show the picture, so our motto in life is to never again to see that, what happened in 1984. The Akal Takht building was destroyed. We all need to remember, we never want to see this again. Innocent people arrested and killed by police. This war I call it declared war on innocent people, did not stop after the massacre in 1984. After Indira Gandhi died, there was genocide in Delhi, which was pre-planned. Most of the people who died were innocent. Nobody was spared. Even people who worked for the Indian government, some people were in military uniforms. They were taken out of trains. People were killed with their tires in their necks, burning tires. So nobody was spared, and this was a horrible, horrible scene. This war continued for 12 years. So this war not only killed the Sikhs, the person who started, she thought she was Queen of India, Indira Gandhi, she was killed. Chief of the army who planned this was killed. Punjab Chief Minister, who was basically a gangster, was killed. Highest official of police was killed. Sant Jarnail Singh was martyrdom, General Shubhek Singh died, and hundreds and thousands other innocent Sikhs died. To fight this organized army and country government, Sikhs only could fight as a guerrilla warfare. And Sikhs, by history, if you read, are very good at guerrilla warfare. With the limited resources, some of the brave young men responded, and they did very well. So it lasted about 12 years. The actual war, even though the government was elected, but the persecution has not stopped. In my view, Indira was doing to gain votes, even though she didn't claim to be their religious. The RSS has gained a lot of ground in India, and to outdo them, get votes, she managed this. And it has continued since then. Now, the ones that she was trying to outdo, they are in charge. So it's even worse. There is no doubt in my mind, or it shouldn't be in anybody's mind, that it was not the Sikhs did something wrong or the other demands. All those are trivial issues. It was a pre-planned. There are 3 books written by Indian government people. The first is a Khalistan, a conspiracy, came from a raw agent, GBS Sidhu. He has clearly documented that this was their creation, Indira Gandhi's creation, and she was determined to do this regardless of what are the consequences. No meeting, no agreement ever could be achieved, because at the last moment she will change her mind. The second book is Turmoil in Punjab. That's by Gurinder Singh. He was the deputy commissioner of Amritsar when the attack actually happened. So deputy commissioner is the executive officer who controls the life in the district. And he has again documented the same thing, that this was done by Indira Gandhi, and all control from the civilian government was taken over by army. Anybody who tried to defy them was insulted. The third one, who was the highest official of Punjab, the governor of Punjab, he was brought from Bengal, B.D. Pandey. He had documented in his book what happened. According to him, law and order in Punjab was not even close to what was in other states. There was no good reason to do what was being done. But there was nothing they could do to stop it, because at the last moment, any compromise will be rejected by Indira Gandhi. So this is the people who were part of the government. The B.D. Pandey was so scared, he told his family not to publish for 5 years after his death. So my point is that this was one-sided war declared on innocent people, and my nation, I think, responded well. Did we win? No, we didn't win, but they didn't win either. So the war in some form is still continuing. and I don't know what will the end. The basic problem is they are not willing to accept Sikhism. The RSS people, they want everybody to be Hindu. Hindu means then you are subject to the hereditary priesthood of Brahman, which is less than 5% of the people. You can't be born without their blessing. You can't die without their blessing. This was rejected by Guru Nanak. So it's not acceptable to us. We cannot go back. Sikh Gurus have already rejected their teaching, and we are sovereign nation. The sovereignty didn't come from Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Sovereignty came from the sixth Guru, who declared Miri and Piri. That means politics and religion. We will control our own future. So the 10th Guru gave their right of sovereignty to Khalsa Panth, the 5 people, not to one person. So that's where we are today. We're fighting for sovereignty, and sovereignty is not the right of an official, not the prime minister, not the king. It belongs to the people. We are a nation. Why we are a nation? The definition of nation is the people who have a common origin, history, education, religion, plus minus homeland. Homeland is not the only requirement to be a nation. So many nations, Kurds are one, Jews were one at one time, who do not have a homeland yet. But someday, hopefully, we will have that too. Sikhs in diaspora has a perfect right to participate in the nation's business, which is gaining sovereignty, as like people back home. I don't know if you have all the details of the results from recent election. You know, Mr. Amritpal Singh, the young man who came and he was arrested. He didn't kill anybody, and he's in jail, taken out of Punjab and blamed to be a terrorist. He ran election. He has no party to support, no money, but the people of Punjab, people in his constituency, took upon themselves, and he has won with the highest vote compared to anybody else. This is a symbolic response for the people who are fed up with what government is doing to Sikh. I'm sure in my mind, I don't know how much, because somebody has to do the research, this killing of innocent people overseas by Modi government must have a big influence this vote in Khadur Sahib. To me, it looks like what happened in San Francisco. 250,000 people showed up, didn't belong to any party, just to express their own view. Yes, that we want a sovereign nation. You know, right now we call it Khalistan. It could be called anything, but basically, sovereignty is the fight.
Yes, it's interesting that you brought up, or you mentioned Amritpal Singh, because we actually did cover that story yesterday in one of our news items. And yes, he secured more than double the number of votes than his next rival. And of course, in a neighbouring constituency, the son of the martyr, the Shahid Beyant Singh, he also secured victory on a pro-Khalistan ticket. So very clearly, the sentiment in Punjab now has swung very much towards pro-Khalistan, which is very much against the narrative that Modi's government has said. Now, we all know that the referendum has been rolled out across the diaspora, and the expectation is that that will show overwhelming support for Khalistan. But of course, the Indian government have always said in their defence, that's just a diaspora. In the Punjab itself, there is no support for Khalistan. It is just what they call a fringe movement. Now, we see immediately at least 700,000 votes, that's a minimum number of votes, who've already effectively voted for Khalistan in Punjab. So, in your opinion, do you think, based on that, there is a strong movement pro-Khalistan in Punjab?
You know, narrative is the people in Punjab, India don't want it. It's just that some of the crazy people like me or other outside are talking about it. When Punjab is an occupied stayed by army. 50 kilometers along the borders controlled by CRP, that's the Central Police. They arrest anybody who speaks. Even having certain book on freedom is a crime, can put a young man in jail. So under the circumstances, people can express themselves only limited way according to the circumstances. So I think like these two constituencies, people have expressed. They have expressed their will, which is very clear that what government is doing is not acceptable.
And what I find very difficult to understand in India is Narendra Modi claims he leads the world's largest democracy, and yet any discussion of secessionism, of independence in India, is a criminal offence. How on earth can India be a democracy if even discussing the concept of Khalistan sees you end up in jail? It seems outrageous to me.
You know, there is no democracy. The Indian Constitution is not a really constitution which works for people. This constitution was originally made for 10 years. They never went back and changed. So this discussion on the constitution. So constitution, let's start. Constitution is not created by government. Constitution is not for government. People constitute constitution to have a government. They have forgotten. They're trying to enforce on us. The Sikh representatives never signed any constitution, especially Article 25. They had the very serious debate, but they were just two of them talking and they were outvoted. I think the whole discussion is on our website in a booklet form, which line by line shows how hard they tried. So Sikh representative never accepted this constitution. So it doesn't apply to us. Who rules the state is the government, not the chief minister. We have seen recent events that made it very clear. The Punjab chief minister is not allowed to call meeting of the assembly without the governor's permission. And even if he called, the governor says it's an illegal meeting and can cancel. They have to go to Supreme Court to reverse that. So the governor is appointed by Prime Minister. Governor is not elected by people. Prime Minister in Punjab is not elected by the people of Punjab. The president is not directly elected by people of Punjab. So Punjab, my state, or even other states have no direct influence in who governs that country. When we are not allowed to participate, we mean Sikhs or our people or anybody living in Punjab. How can that government will be morally authorized to govern us? So it is no less than an occupied state. And this cannot be tolerated.
And talking about the Constitution, I understand that one of the main reasons that the Sikh representatives did not sign the Constitution, refused to sign it, was because there was no recognition of Sikhism, Sikhi, as a separate independent religion. It was seen as a subset of Hinduism. And this, of course, has created all sorts of anger and resentment for decades ever since. Am I correct in believing that?
Well, I think they are capable of doing anything which suits them. Fortunately, he does not have an overall mandate. He is with the coalition government. Hopefully, people will stand up. But I don't think changing one government here and there is going to solve our problem. I think we need our own free home where there's nobody supreme and our people can govern themselves. That's the sovereignty. That's what my hope is. The Sikhs, when they go to Gurdwara, they pray. The prayer always ends, Raj karega Khalsa, aaki rahe na koi. That means Khalsa shall rule. So this is the prayer and this is the wish of Sikhs everywhere. So we have been doing inside now with Sikhs for Justice. They have taught us, let's go outside, tell the rest of the world. And it seemed to be working better than I thought it will. And now they're trying to kill people just for saying, yes, we want free homeland. They have not killed anybody. They have not done any violence. And the highest officials of Indian government has been involved. It's proven by American intelligence. Even the American president has complained, but they didn't listen. Canadian Prime Minister has complained. So it is now in front of the world, open to what this farce democracy is. And I don't think as long as these people have a control, they will accept, they will manipulate anything they want. Courts are being manipulated. Some young man was visiting from India and he was trying to settle his son here. He's very well off there. And I said, why are you doing this? You seem to be so well settled. Why do you want son to come here, work here? Everybody has to work. He said, there's no life, there's no freedom. He said, there's nothing that the government can't do. You can buy a judgment. I said, you can buy a judgment? I thought the Supreme Court judges was free. They were very qualified and respectable people. He said, no, I didn't say that they are not. But if the judge doesn't listen, the government will bring a judge which will suit you as long as you pay the highest money. So this is the state of democracy there.
Yeah, indeed. Do you think, now that we've had the election results almost completely through now, it's very clear that Narendra Modi has lost a lot of ground. So it would appear to me that he's a lot weaker now than he was certainly over the last 5 years. And I believe his goal, the BJP's goal this time, was to secure 400 seats out of the 500 and something seats in Parliament. But he has actually lost a lot of ground. So if he's weaker, do you think this gives more power to the Khalistan movement? Do you think it actually is going to help enable the forward movement of the Khalistan movement more powerfully now?
So Khalistan movement is multi-pronged. I'm not sure there's a one solution. Basically, it is the determination of Sikh nation to continue in whatever it is required, many-pronged approach. And someday, I think we will see the results. So it basically depends how hard our people will fight and understand what's being done to them. I think awareness is much more now, especially outside India, because of freedom of press, social media. I think it's very hard for them to suppress people. People of Punjab are everywhere. It's not like Manipur. Poor people are still being killed and nobody knows what's happening there.
Interesting times, but there we must leave it as we're running out of time. But we will be talking again with Dr. Grewal soon to continue this discussion. Dr. Grewal, it's been an absolute pleasure for you joining us. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching the Satluj TV podcast. We'll see you next time.